Now let's cover the stator side first, so we can actually also get some grip on turning the engine here on this side. And to do that, I just want to kind of finish off the whole stator side, and we're going to start by adding in the drive shaft seal here on this side. This is the old one, and as you can see there are some wear marks here. And then be careful, there is an O-ring inside, and actually this piece will just slide in here like that. And we actually need a seal, this part number here, that goes in like that. Then we need the new bushing here. We need the inner O-ring. Then I also got the new holder plate, which will actually hold this seal, the oil seal, in place. And with that I got some new bolts. And that's about it, I guess. So let's start with the seal. Now once that sits nicely, we're gonna take the bushing and the O-ring. And now make sure these little grooves here, they actually go to the inside. And you could just slide that carefully over here. And then rotate it to get it into the seal without damaging it. Now that seems to be seated, and then we can go ahead and install our mounting bracket. And now make sure, if you do start the engine when it's installed, you need to have actually a sprocket installed, otherwise this little inner bushing will just fall out and drip oil all over the place. I do speak out of experience here. And these bolts are actually 7mm. The only 7mm bolts I know in this engine. Okay, that's done. So now everything on this side is done, so we can go ahead and do the crankcase side itself. And for that we actually need the starter clutch assembly with the rotor itself. And since I figured that there are some, definitely there are some signs of wear here, I opted to replace these parts here. Got them brand new, they come together as a set. So that now means I basically need to unbolt this here and then get the starter clutch assembly here out and replace it with the new one. So that's what we're gonna do now. Now once all the bolts are removed, we can actually just take that off here, and this is one part of the assembly that we are going to replace with this part here. Now we can take these prepared bolts and torque them up to 13 Newton meters. Now with that done, we can actually mate our new starter clutch together. Make sure to loop this needle bearing here. And then this can be placed on here, just like that. And now before we do that, we should actually get the Woodruff key here. That's a key like that, which just goes into the crankshaft here, and the orientation actually doesn't matter. I mean, the rounded side of course should face in, and the flat side should face outwards. So that's already installed, and once that's done we can then actually put the flywheel over it. Now there maybe will be some resistance to it. Just make sure that you're aligning this groove exactly with the Woodruff key. And then we do have a washer, and we do have this rotor nut here. Just take that, and if we turn it now carefully, actually it should just pop on. Okay, so now we got that on, and we're now gonna torque this one. This one will be torqued to 100 Newton meters. Ah! Yes, that's 100. Okay, and now we can already go ahead and install the stator and the stator cover. So with that, there is this piece here. There will be a gear like this, a tiny washer, then this shaft, and on one side of the shaft is going to be a clip, and on the other side you're going to find another washer, and this will actually go in here, so right in there. Now let us install the stator. It's actually this piece here, and it goes in like that. Now we got this little bracket here, and this one actually belongs to this part. And then we have another bracket which will later be placed right here, just to hold all those cables aside and not get them into the stator. So all these bolts here, I'm gonna use Loctite on them to make sure they're really tight. So let me prepare that now. Now these don't need to be torqued like crazy, just get them hand tight, and with the Loctite we used, that should work like a charm. Then we're gonna mount 2 bolts here and 1 bolt here, and while doing that we're gonna make sure that all the cables are nicely packed and stowed in the right place. Looks good. Then we're going to use some sealant on here just to make sure there's nothing coming in to that. Now let's get our new stator cover gasket. Actually, you can reuse them since they're made out of metal, but yeah, on this build I'm just gonna replace that again. Goes on like that. Actually no sealant needed, and then we can go ahead and place that on top of the engine here on the other side. So let's take this and make sure we're gonna hold the gasket well. Looks great. So now we're gonna bolt these ones down, and then we're gonna open up this cover here just to make sure we can actually get access to turn the crank when needed. First, that's all short bolts except for the ones on top here. This one here will actually love to see some Loctite because if it falls off, and that's happened in the past with other DRZs, you're not going to be lucky. And now we can already put this cover on top and torque all the bolts to spec. Or actually we need to torque them first because some of them won't be reached after that. It's not optimal, but it's okay. 10 Newton meters for all of them. Nice. Then next up we can add in the starter gear. So that's this assembly here, and then watch out, there are some rings here, so there will be a bushing. It's usually best if you place that directly in here. Of course, make sure that's looped well. Put that in here, and then you're gonna find a washer. Maybe sometimes it falls off, sometimes not. So this washer goes here, and if you want to have some help holding that in place, just use some oil or either grease, also works well. Place that on here and then drop it in. There we go, now it's in all the way. And we can actually go ahead and add this cover to it. And now I'm not sure, but I guess I would need to replace, I need to replace this O-ring here. And then we have 3 bolts like this to get them in. Don't go too hard on them, since that's all, I guess, magnesium, if I'm not mistaken. And now we got to bolt this one down.